we're good to go.
Okay, I'd like to call the October 30th, 2023 meeting of the Delaware County Land Reutilization Corporation Board meeting to order, otherwise known as the Land Bank. First action is approval of the electronic record of proceedings and minutes from the September 25th. The written minutes that Ally sent out were just all the votes, all the actions that we took. The recorded minutes record all the conversation, discussion. So anyway, I don't know if anybody had any corrections, comments. I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, okay. An approval from Commissioner Merrill, second.
I'll second.
Second, okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, that motion is carried. We'll go on to the treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report's pretty straightforward. The balance 9/30/23, $150,165.74, and with check of $55,377, and which will be reimbursed. And that's the report.
Okay. Yeah, again, pretty straightforward, no activity other than that one check which we approved the last board meeting, or meeting before last. Any further conversation? I would entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I move we approve the treasurer's report as presented.
Motion by Director Stage, second. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Boney. All those, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the treasurer's report is approved. No payments to approve at this point, so we'll just go right on into the main part of the reason to get together today is we wanted to give all the jurisdictions in the county notice. First of all, we did that back in August. We wanted to give them some time to research and find potential demolition projects. We continue to increase awareness of this program. There's a number of applications that aren't being presented formally, but I know are being discussed and researched. We do have we have 8 applications that have been officially submitted to Diane Gunther, who again continues to do a great job for us in administering these grants. But there have been 8 that have been formally submitted to Diane. She is in the process of gathering information that needs to be presented to the ODOD, and she's in various stages on those 8 projects. But what she did was she presented a summary form of those 8 applications that everybody should have received, and the first 4, and she presented them in the order of receipt, when she received the application. And the first 4 are ready to go and ready to be submitted to ODOD with some minor data information collection. And those 4 do total a little less than the $298,000 that we have available as replacement project funding in round 1. And I think those 4 are in the best position to be completed by the end of June of next year, which is the other requirement. So I'm just presenting those as for discussion, I guess at this point. This is the main topic for today. Those 4 do total $270,000. Like I said, we have $298,000 available. The one that is a little uncertain at this point is the Genoa Police Station. Theirs is a more complex application because it has some FEMA, or not FEMA, ARPA funding. Mm-hmm. And it's got architectural costs included, some of which is clearly not eligible, some of which may be eligible for reimbursement. And Diane is working with Paul to get details on that. But she thinks at this point, the 97 should be clearly eligible, and there may be a piece of either not using the ARPA funds or a piece of the architect's costs that may be eligible as well. And like I said, she's working on getting the details ironed out on that. But they're ready to go, pending getting the resolution of this documentation.
So Genoa's prepared to make up the difference if they move forward?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they've got some ARPA funding, and I think that's it. And they're gonna self-fund a little bit of it, because the architect's fees, I think, are gonna cost a little bit. I'll just go through them. The first one is a Channing Street, 50 Channing Street. This is a county project. This is the the old engineers building. Now that they've moved out to the Bixby campus, it's vacant, and it is in contract with Homeport, which is an organization that provides affordable housing in central Ohio. And we're in contract with them to sell it to them, and then they're going to develop the existing building and build around it as well, build a number of single-family and multifamily units around there. And very needed, very important project, very, very needed for the region, for getting a broader array of housing in our market. And Homeport's done a great job of elsewhere. This is their first foray into Delaware County. We're very excited to work with them. Now, having said all that, there is a project that is just shy of $50,000 that could help get the land ready for Homeport prior to the closing, where the Homeport gets the land.
And is to remove some of those buildings, secondary buildings back behind the Channing building?
Right. Right, and the underground storage tanks, getting those removed. So that's what the first one is. The second one is a FEMA project. This is a house that is in Scioto Township that is in a floodplain and has flooded repeatedly over the years and has been declared, I don't know what the technical term is, basically it's got to be knocked down. They're just not going to keep, it's uninsurable, and it's got to be knocked down. So FEMA has stepped in and has provided some funding. Our EMA group, led by Alex McCarthy, has worked with Diane to get funding to demolish this house that sits on this property. So again, a house that needs to be abandoned, or I think it is abandoned now, but needs to be abandoned and needs to be knocked down. So good use of that money. The police station is the next one in Genoa. That's certainly a worthwhile project and a big one, close to 100,000. And it'll help them as they redevelop that area. So that one certainly makes sense. And then we get into the city of Powell. The first one from the city of Powell is a commercial building on East Olentangy Street, and they're going to knock it down. It's been abandoned for a while, and they're going to knock it down, and they're in contract with Cohatch to build on that site. So certainly a good project, bring some employment in there, knock down a blighted property and turn it into a good commercial site, and that's just shy of 100,000. Or that's 80,000. So those are the first four that I would recommend we proceed with. I'm obviously open for discussion. The next four are four individual projects in the city of Powell also, related to a mixed-use development that Xenios is putting together in kind of the just north of downtown. It's the old carryout, which we knocked down with the first set of grants in this program. Those four are they're moving forward. It's going to revitalize that area. So these are empty houses. It's a good use of funding as well. But we need to gather more information. Diane is in the process of doing that.
So we don't know what the uses would be yet?
It's a mixed-use development, but specifically I can't say. We'll get that as Diane will get that as she gets more information. Now those four, the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th ones, applications total $211,000. So if we do the first four as replacement projects in round one, that would total about $270,000, so we'd still have $28,000 available. But the next four, none of those individual projects could fit into round one, but they'd take up roughly 40% of round two. And interestingly, those applications, the ODOD has opened up the applications for round two. So as of November 1st, Wednesday. So we're eligible to move forward with those 4, in round 2. So we can get those moving very quickly, which is good.
Where does PAL stand, the 6 through 8 on the schedule here? Where does PAL stand getting those applications? Do we know?
I don't know that I've gotten any specific. Diane has sent email updates. I don't know, she write anything in her comments? No, nothing in there.
I didn't see anything from her when I looked through them.
Let's see. Yeah, she didn't get into any specifics other than she's just gathering more information on those 4.
So we don't have anything from.
No, nothing beyond what's on this
Would
chart.
it be would it be a consideration to, or could we do the grant directly with the developer instead of the city?
We can.
Because we did it with the nursing home.
Yeah, it can be done directly with the developer. The first one was done with the city, who worked with the developer. And that's really up to the city and the developer to decide who wants to be, the land bank has to be the lead agent.
Right.
So we've done projects with private developers, we've done projects with jurisdictions, public jurisdictions. So we don't really care, as far as I'm concerned. So,
So I guess it would just depend on the credibility of the developer then, whether we wanted to do that or not, his credibility and his financial strength.
yeah.
I'm curious, I know where the old, I'm talking about the PAL projects.
The old
I know where the
carryout.
old carryout was, and I know kind of where these properties are. They're all right adjacent to a coterminous with that carryout property.
Yep.
Is that area part of PAL Green? Do we know?
Part of PAL what?
Green?
PAL Green? I don't know.
You don't know about PAL Green?
Is that Neos's development name, or is that?
Well, here's what I'm not even gonna say I know this about PAL Green. Here's what I was told. They're wanting to do a bridge type project.
Bridge Street?
No, Bridge Street like in Dublin.
Bridge
Like in
Gardens?
Dublin?
Over the street?
No, not over the street, but a development, where they get
Oh,
the
okay.
high-end commercial and
Apartments,
residential,
retail.
yeah. Now, I've heard a lot of buzz about it, but I can't get anything concrete that, I'd wanna hang my hat on, at least.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe you all might have heard something, apparently not.
No, short answer is nothing beyond that, certainly. That's where we are, those 4 projects.
So you need a motion to move forward on those 4?
Yeah,
Question,
clearly.
the first one, the Channing Street,
Yeah,
did you apply to the Department of Development for any, what do they call it? Abandoned gas station funds?
No, we did not.
Is there a reason why you didn't?
Justin, Justin Navi, our finance director, is here.
I know
and
they
he
have
can-
funds, I've talked to them.
Which one's that, Dave?
It's
Buster
it's
grant.
the Department of Development Abandoned Gas Station Funds. It's not Buster.
Oh,
This is something
okay.
different. Buster, I never did get an answer whether they had money or not,
Yeah.
but ODOD does have.
But, are you talking about the gas station up on 23?
No, I'm talking about the underground storage tanks
Oh,
at Channing.
At Channing, okay.
No, sorry, we didn't. I think because these fundings were available on an expedited basis, and the timeline in getting this property over to Homeport, the tanks have to be removed prior to February 1st for the closing. So we just kind of went for this grant just to expedite the tank removals.
Okay.
Sorry, I've got something on my throat.
Yeah, got a little cough.
But, I don't know. The two county projects, the thing that bothers me about them is that right now the county's sitting on, depending on how you want to measure it, probably $370 million in funds that are investable, give or take a few dollars.
Yeah, a lot of those are restricted though. I mean, I
And,
think the majority.
Well, are they?
Oh, sure they are.
You know, and the county could fund those two projects and it wouldn't make a dent in that.
Well, these are taxpayer dollars regardless, so
Yes,
we
they-
benefit the taxpayers by
Gary, I
doing this.
understand that, but they're taxpayer dollars that are just sitting there doing nothing, earning interest.
Well-
You know, we're continuing to to collect property taxes from countywide. And, you know, if you look at what is happening with sales tax and sales tax collections and with the inside millage collections, I mean, we're close to funding what we need to operate every year. Now, when
Yeah,
you say that these funds are committed, I'm not quite sure what that, committed for what?
well, a lot of them belong to other agencies. A lot of them belong to road and bridge funds, sewer funds. I mean, there's a whole bunch of funds that are very, very tightly restricted. Justin probably knows them better than I do, but there's a whole
Yeah,
bunch of those.
Thanks, Commissioner. So, we have, within the overall portfolio, you've got money for some of the levy agencies like mental health, Board of Development of Disabilities. You've got preservation parks in there, regional sewer. So a large portion of, the cash balance overall is not tied to the general fund, if that makes sense. Because a lot of entities, rather than running their own accounting system and maintaining their own portfolio, they just kind of commingle with the county's accounting system and chart of accounts.
Right. We've done long-term projections. Yes, right now, we have very, very good reserves. We set up emergency reserves, which are restricted, and so on. But we've set up, we've done some long-range cash flow projections, and we do need to borrow money, in the coming years as we continue to do more road projects in particular. Sewer fund is going to need to borrow some money in a few years as well. So,
And just as incidentally, for 2024 budget, the funding for the road and bridges from the general fund has kind of been around 13 to 15 million. It's going up, at least the request for next year is upwards of 24 million. In long range, I've been seeing, from the engineer's office, that funding line item is going up to 30 million through 2028. So we're kind of starting to see some pressure long-term on the general fund. But I think too, with applying for this grant, if there's going to be unspent monies and we have this need that's kind of on an expedited basis, to me, it just made sense to apply for the grant.
yeah.
And there is an intent with round two to apply for tank removals at the old county garage on 23 North.
Right, right. And a number of other projects we know about that are coming, just haven't been formally applied for yet. And another thought is, another consideration is, round two has 500,000 from fiscal 24, 25 that the state is guaranteed. There is no guarantee for a second year of that funding. And I think the applications have to be, I think it's July of 21, or 25, I think, when they have to be finished. So we need to keep moving things along, or we could risk not getting the money. Then also, if we, and there's a couple big demolition projects that we're aware of that may fall into this. If we were to go in excess of 500,000, we can still do that, and it's on a first come, first serve, because there's roughly a third of the money that the state allocated is in the 500,000 that's guaranteed to each county. But if you have something that exceeds the 500,000, and a lot of counties do, then you can apply for that, and it's a first come, first serve, but you have to match it at 25%, which would still be better than using 100% of our own money. And that's.
Yeah, but, yes, Jeff, I agree. And also, as I recall, they didn't call it out as a specific proscription in the grant money that we're working with now. But the new grant, they specifically exclude underground storage tanks. I thought I read that in there. I'll have to go back and see if I can find it.
Yeah, I don't I don't know, everything I've heard is the round two is the same as round one.
I don't,
So,
well, I need to go back and look,
Yeah.
but that's something that jumped out at me when I saw it.
now, if they're contaminated sites, clearly it can't be demolition.
Right.
But,
And a lot of those underground storage tank sites are.
yeah, but I think we've already done that work and determined they're not contaminated in this case.
That'd be all more reason to get the Channing project in this group.
Yeah, true.
If the county didn't help with this project, whether it's through the land bank or the general fund, would it be ultimately on Homeport?
No, this would be on the county's obligation to pay for the tank removals.
Okay.
Right, right. And again, Homeport's a really good community partner. I don't know if you've ever worked with them or not. I don't think they've done
No,
that.
not in Orange, but I'm familiar with them.
Yeah, okay. And so again, this is a repurposing of our Channing Street property, which is good for everybody. And Homeport's certainly a worthwhile organization to take that forward.
I'll make a motion to approve these 4 projects.
Now, and that's fine. I don't know, is there a second? I did want to have some more discussion. There was a point I wanted to make. Anybody going to second that? Shelley, you want to?
Well, I guess my question on the PAL one, since there's 5 listed here, so the reason why we would choose the one, I guess, in this table, I guess what justifies that one as our top choice as opposed to the other 4?
It was the one that was received before the others.
Okay,
Just simple as that.
okay.
Now, to kind of ask a question of the board, the police station, it could be, Diane is saying there's a chance that we could get 124,000 approved to submit for the application. So we may, the 97 that's listed here, we may have another 27,000 to submit, depending on how this architectural cost breakdown and whether they have to use, or whether they might not have to use the ARPA funds. So there could be 124,000. So what I would like to see, if the board's okay with it, is the authorization for that one to go up to, say, 125,000, just to be safe. And that would put us like at 296, 295, something like that. So we'd be using almost all of that.
And if there's a shortfall, it just falls to the Coash project? If you're 6,000 over, what
No,
happens?
we'd be under.
We still be under?
Yeah, we'd still be
Okay.
under if we added 27.
Okay.
Because we're at 270.
So Jeff, what you're proposing is that instead of 97, it's gonna be 124?
Yeah, up to 124.
Up to 124,
Right,
which is an additional 27,
yeah, and that would get us just a hair under the
under the
298.
298.
Yeah. And again, Diane's working with Paul, Wise at Genoa, to try to figure out the details of
What's
what's
the issue with the architectural fees again?
If it's related to the demolition portion of redoing that site, then it can be eligible. If it's related to the design of the new building and so on, it's not. And then they just provided a lump sum fee.
Yeah, that makes that one a little more complex because it's pertinent to the fire station now,
Yeah, yep,
and they want to tear it down so they expand the fire station, my understanding.
yeah. So anyway, you okay if we amend your motion to that?
Sure.
So, motion would be to move forward those 4 applications, with the Genoa one being up to 124,000. Everybody okay with that?
I think the goal is to use as much of that money as possible.
Yeah, exactly. That would put us just a hair short of 298, which is great. Now, again, if we have experience like we did with the first set of projects, we'll have some excess funds anyway, and we can always reconvene
We get
quickly and see
60%
if.
of it back again.
I know. So anyway, any further discussion? Let's do a roll call on this one, Ally. Just make sure.
But it was a second?
Oh, I'm sorry, did you second
I can second it,
Okay.
yes.
I didn't remember hearing a second.
it? Yeah, good point. We need a second. We got a second.
All right. Jeff,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
David,
Yes,
and then Michelle.
Yes.
All right, thank you. That was the main topic for today, to get the approval for replacement. Now,
I just have one other question, I'm
Sure.
sorry. Would we still be accepting applications for round two then?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that leads us into round two, and like I mentioned before, the 4 projects that Diane has formally received applications for total only $211,000. So that would leave us another $289,000.
Who has she received applications from?
The other 4 Powell projects?
Oh, okay.
But we haven't received any others yet?
No, well, no, not formally.
Okay.
We know there's, she did write up. She has had interest. Justin, the round 2 project at the gas station, is certainly something that's potentially eligible.
The gas station you're referring to is the county facility on 23 North.
23, right. City of Delaware, well, Kyle's not here, but I know the city of Delaware has a couple sites that they're looking at. City of Sunbury, or the village, city of Sunbury, does have a site or two that they're considering. Ashley, I've spoken to them personally, they've got a couple sites. Mill on Flax is, they've got some projects that, or some work that needs to be done to knock down some buildings there. But no one is ready to make an application on those as of a couple
Okay.
days ago.
Thank you.
So, anyway, that's kind of where we are. Other comments, questions? I would entertain a motion to move forward to, on this one, I'll need authorization to submit the applications in round 1 and round 2 for the demolition. The land bank does not need to advance the money. The local jurisdictions or the private developer advances the money, then the reimbursement comes through the land bank, so it's not I don't need authorization to make those payments. So, anyway, at this point, I would entertain a motion to move forward with giving Diane the approval to process those 4 applications for all of them located in the city of Powell, for $211,000 total, as listed in the chart.
This is the second round?
Second round.
Does that include, what about the 23?
We just don't have the details yet.
Okay. So we
In fact, that's a good point. Could we, what would you think about authorizing the submittal, rather than having another board meeting when those projects become officially applied?
we
I
still
guess
have to
assuming
vote
the
ultimately.
amount, yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
I'd say we still have to vote ultimately to move them forward, but it would just mean one less meeting.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, is we could maybe, if we could authorize the gas station, Mill on Flax, and the Ashley ones, I don't know much about them. They're two, one commercial building, one residence that need to come down. I don't know, it's just a little,
That's probably too iffy. I think it'd be better to wait.
Yeah, I'd feel more comfortable waiting until I see exactly what it is they're saying they're
Yeah.
gonna do.
yeah, so, and that's fine. You okay with that, Michelle? That sound good? And we'll get into it later, it's one of the last items on the agenda, but we do have the ability, land banks now do have the ability to meet virtually, with certain restrictions, and we'll get into that, but, you know, as this goes on, if we have to have a quick meeting, we can do that easier than we've been able to in the past. So, anyway, motion is for those, or motion I would entertain is for those 4 properties that are listed in the city of Powell, totaling $211,000.
To be applied in round 2, is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all right. Further discussion? Well, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, any opposed? All right, motion carries. And again, we'll keep the board aware. Diane is working on this every day. She's doing a great job. And the word is getting out. You know, we're getting more and more inquiries. Now, like I said before, there's a couple big ones potentially that could throw us well over 500,000, but they still may be worth pursuing. The round 2 is on first come, first serve for if your amount's above 5,000. So, so again, as those come to fruition.
You say first come, so we look at them sequentially in the way they come in, is that what you're saying?
Well, what I'm saying is the ones above 500,000 that each county is guaranteed to. So if we get to 500,000 and we have more applications above that, we can submit it to the state, ODOD, but with a 25% match, and the state considers them on a first come, first serve.
As opposed to reprogramming, that's the way I interpret that.
Yeah. Yep. So, again, there's some potential for some good things there. Okay, we got that passed. Now we'll go on to Sunny V. Sunny V is really making progress. The asbestos work is done. The application for reimbursement of $55,377 has been submitted, and we should get that literally any day, is what Diane is expecting. But the next step, and presumably the last step in the Sunny V property project, is for demolition. We have Diane and Jerry Warner did a great job of working through the city, in the city of Delaware, working through Sunny V, the owners and the contractors to get two bids for the demolition work, which is basically tearing down that annex and filling that in and fixing it up, which is great. And then the owners will go forward with the renovation of the actual home building, the remaining building. And so, anyway, Diane did get, and working with Jerry Warner, city director. What's Jerry's title? Building Department Director. Yeah, Jerry's done a nice job. He's knows really what's going on. They got two quotes. One of them was incomplete. The other one was complete, and with a firm that actually did the work on Spring Street. And that's the proposal that we've received and was in the package. It is from Complete Clearing out of Marengo, $96,800. I think on the agenda it says $98,800. It's actually $96,800. And that's the next step with Sunny V, and hopefully will be the last step, and the owners can get into the building and start renovating and making that a beautiful property. So what I'm asking for is permission to contract with Complete Clearing for $96,800 and accept, I don't know that we actually have to do that, but I'd like to have a motion to accept the $55,377 reimbursement. Do we need that, Justin? We
I don't think
need it.
so, that's just
Okay, never mind
paying
then.
money to road, so.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I just didn't want to take a chance that we wouldn't be able to accept the check. So we'll go, I'm open for discussion. I don't know if anybody has any comments about the demolition?
And it is it's 96,800?
96,800, yeah. And again, this is the group that did the two Spring Street properties, which turned out great.
Okay, good.
Any other
Is that a motion?
thoughts?
Oh, yes, I
Okay,
will.
I'm
was-
opening for
I wasn't
discussion
sure.
or a
I'll
motion.
move to
I wasn't
approve.
sure.
You're going to make the motion?
Yes.
Okay, Michelle's made the motion. Second?
Second?
Second from David. Okay, any further discussion?
That includes accepting the reimbursement, the same. motion,
Yeah,
correct?
but, yeah,
Okay, yeah.
we don't really need it, but we can do that. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right. Diane and the city of Delaware will be very excited to see this thing move to the next and hopefully final phase and get that thing going again. So thank you. The round two guidelines, we've done the approvals. I wanted to go through that. Like I mentioned before, there is a potential to match 25%, to submit projects above 500,000 if we match 25%, which would still be a very worthwhile financial incentive. It is a first come, first serve. They need to be completed by July of '25, I think. And now, again, this is only 1 year, but the expectation is that the State House will renew it because they're very pleased with how the program's going in the whole state, so, and then it's certainly working here. So, anyway, and the application period is open for round 2. So now that we've got these 4 approved, we can get them moving as soon as Diane gets the documentation. So
Great.
that's really good. So we should be able to get those
But
going.
we will
very
have to
quickly.
meet near future on the other applications.
Yes, right.
Mhm.
Sunny B, oh, 2 other things, well, foreclosure update, the prosecutor's office doesn't have any at this point. I don't know, Dave, if you have any update, treasurer's office?
Nothing, no.
Okay. OLBA newsletter. In the package, there was some material from the OLBA, which is the Highland Land Bank Association newsletter, about the ability to have remote meetings, video conferencing for county land banks and other economic development bodies. And I like this just because there may be a need to have a quick meeting just to approve one little item or one little application or something. Board or council, the restrictions are the board or council establishes a primary meeting location that is open and accessible to the public. Obviously, we could do that here, continue. Meeting relating materials are available for the meeting or sent via email or post office. Board or council causes a clear video and audio connection to be established. In case of a teleconference, the board or council causes a clear audio connection to be established that enables all meeting participants at the primary meeting location to hear each member. All members have the capability to receive meeting materials that are distributed during a meeting. A roll call voice vote is recorded on each vote. The minutes identify which members remotely attended or were in person. So restrictions like that, I think those are all things that we could work with.
Is it the same notice period that we
Yes, it would
currently
be.
do? Okay.
Yep. So again, I think that's helpful, so we can, if we need to, we can have a quick meeting to approve 1 or 2 items that need to occur. There are 2 other items that I need to bring up under other business. Diane this morning let me know that there are 2 IGAs. One of them's for the demolition grant, one of them's for the brownfield remediation grant with the city of Delaware that expire at the end of '23. And what we need to do is just extend those to the end of '24. This is for round 1, but round 2 would be applicable as well. So anyway, clearly we need to do that. Otherwise, the city of Delaware couldn't continue to administer this on our behalf. And Diane's doing a great job, so.
So we'll need to meet before the end of this year?
I'm sorry, what?
We'll need to meet before the end of this year?
No, we can just, if we extend those 2 IGAs, the intergovernmental agreements with the city of Delaware,
Oh, okay.
then it just extends the agreement. And that's all that we're changing, is just extending the expiration date of that agreement from 12/31/2023 to 12/31/2024. So Diane can continue to do the work for us.
Well, she's done a great job. I see no reason we would want to extend it, so I'll make the motion to extend the IGAs through December 31st, 2024.
Okay? A second?
Do you
David?
want to say? I'll second.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Next one is, Justin brought up today that the Julian and Grube contract expires at the end of this year. They are the group, the financial, or CPAs, I think they're CPAs, that prepare our financials. They don't do the audit, they prepare the financials, and their agreement expires at the end of this year, and they're willing to do it again. So Justin, if you could walk us through what that is.
Thanks, Commissioner. Justin Nobby, Director of Finance. Julian and Grube is a CPA firm that specializes in governmental accounting, and they're based out of Westerville. For the last 3 years, they prepared the basic financial statements for the land bank, and what I would recommend is extending that for another 3 years. When I did talk to the consultant, he did mention there might be a marginal increase. Right now, we're spending $1,000 a year for these reports. It might go up to $1,100 a year.
Okay.
And
And for 3 years.
correct. The Only reason I would recommend extending another 3 years is generally with these firms, if you only enter into a 1-year agreement, the cost is even higher than it would be over the 3-year. So it might be $1,300 for a 1-year renewal versus $1,100 for a 3-year, for each year.
And you've been pleased, Karen, I think you've been pleased with, they've done a nice job. We've had clean financials, clean audits, so.
Right.
Yeah, we used them at the Finance Authority, and
I'm sorry, what did?
it's like we used them at the Finance Authority, and they did.
Oh, yeah, they're doing okay there, too. Okay. All right, so anyway, that was the other item I wanted to bring up under other business, just to, again, we don't need them this year, but at the end of the year, in January, February, they'll be compiled.
So do they have an
financials.
engagement letter? Do we have an engagement letter in hand, or are you gonna call them and say, send it to us, or?
I spoke to the consultant about this, and generally they send these out in December each year when the renewal period's up. He's going to be sending it out here over the next week, and I can email that out to the entire board.
Do you wanna pre-approve, as long as it's no more than $1,100 a year, go ahead and give?
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
And
Great.
we need to do it, so.
I'll make a motion that we do that.
Okay, up to $1,100 per year for the next 3 years. Okay. And then authorization to sign the engagement letter.
Yes.
Okay. So did you get that, Ally?
I'll second that.
Okay, all right. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. We are, that's all I had on the items on the agenda and other business, so I don't know if anybody had anything else. I know, Michelle, you were telling me earlier, you're scouring Orange Township for rundown buildings, and you're not having any luck.
I'm looking for it.
I know, which is not a bad thing, but, Dave, Gary, anything else? All right, no further business. We stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody.